Hello YouTube, today I'm going to be showing you an Aquanites camping guide. The requirement to kill Aquanites is 78 Slayer. They're located at the very end of the Fremennik Slayer dungeon. You can teleport there directly if you have Mask of Aquanites from Treasure Hunter. Alternatively, you can get there by using a Ring of Slaying, and then select the Fremennik Slayer dungeon option, then go inside the cave and run all the way to the end. There are two agility shortcuts inside, which require 81 and 62 respectively. Range is the best gear for killing Aquanites. I think Mage also works too, but I have not tested it yet. Armadillo armor works just fine, although it may be better to use Farmer's outfit if you want the farming boost. Amulet of Zealots, although I mentioned many times before, is the best amulet to use here. This is because Leech Range Strength Prayer offers 18% damage, compared to Anguish, which only does 10%. Some people may suggest to use the Demon Horn Necklace with Bone Crusher instead though. For a ranged weapon, any tier 70 or higher will hit these 100% of the time. In comparison to the types of ranged weapons you should use here, you should use the longest ranged weapon. This is because Aquanites are far spread out, and you'll be constantly moving a lot. Therefore I would not use a dual wield ranged weapon like Ascension Crossbow, let's say. Normally I don't use Steel Titan for combat, but in this case you want the max DPS possible, so bring one with scrolls. My Completionist Cape has Spirit Cape attached to it, which allows me to use Steel Titan's special attack more often. For inventory setup, I have Overloads, Prayer Renewal, and Prayer Restoring Potions. Replenishment potions are really helpful here, as you'll be using lots of adrenaline. I also have Enhanced Excalibur for extra healing. Spring Cleaner is used to clean out the battle stabs they drop. Of course, the whole point of this video is for farming experience. For those who do not understand how combat farming really works, you need an item called Seedicide. This item is a reward from Cabbage Face Punch. I also recommend that if you have spare Slayer points, you can add this to your tool belt. What this item does is when you kill a monster, it incinerates all the seed drops and gives double farming experience compared to planting them. Like, can you imagine if a monster dropped 1,000,000 Fellstock seeds? That's 200 million farming experience in one kill! Well, not to exaggerate here, but Aquanites do drop multiple seeds commonly. I personally set it to destroy every seed it drops, except used seeds. The other drops are not really great as well, but you may occasionally get a beam. I don't even bother area looting, because I'm constantly moving around this map. So for abilities, I put Ricochet on the first slot because it helps aggro Aquanites nearby. Then I follow it with Corruption Shot. What this ability does is that spreads bleeds damage to nearby enemies. Then I follow with Dazing Shot and Fragmentation Shot. For thresholds, I spam them as much as possible. The one ability I love to use here is Shadow Tendrils. You're going to take hefty amounts of damage this way, so that's why I bring in Excalibur and I keep Soul Split on at all times. The other thresholds combine them. With a new buff on Piercing Shot, I use this basic ability after a stun or bind threshold. Using this ability now allows me to use other basic abilities to my next target. It's not really effective to use Death's Witness here, so don't worry about it if you don't have much spare adrenaline, because these monsters are quite spread out and you'll be constantly moving away from your radius. For experience boosts, I'm not using any experience boosts, so this is all base experience rate. Previously, this method was extremely OP, because Aquanites had less than half of its HP today, thus allowing more kills per hour. Overall, I got 438k range experience and 149k farming experience this hour. I may have gotten lucky this hour, but after the nerf, I've tested it a couple of times and I got 120k to 145k farming experience per hour. Really, this varies because Aquanites sometimes drop a lot of seeds while sometimes they don't drop any seeds. So is this method recommended for farming training? The answer is yes, especially if you're an Iron Man. However, I do not personally recommend you do this if you are in no rush to train farming to a certain goal, as tree farming is approximately 1.2 million experience per hour based on time spent. I mean, this method is free compared to 10 or so GP per EXP doing trees. The range experience was also moderate. Not a top tier range method, but not too bad either. Also, a lot of you have the Slayer task disabled, but I do not recommend you have the Slayer task enabled either. So yeah, thanks for watching and I hope it helps. If I missed anything, feel free to ask.